Greetings and welcome back to Stellaris, my Commonwealth of Man playthrough. So I redesigned some of my ships and I totally overhauled the fleets, and I'm in the process of having fleets move around to get to where they need to be, because some ships that were in one fleet I no longer needed. They were in excess. I'll show you my fleet manager plans real quick. So Strike Force Medusa I have changed to be kind of themed about Medusa. So the corvettes are called the Serpentine Locks. They are antimatter missiles and swarm. And eventually I will probably replace these missiles with disruptors. But they just kind of swarm in, and there's going to be 40 of them in this fleet. I've got 10 other ships coming, and then they're all going to retrofit. There are no frigates in this fleet. The destroyers will be the venomous blades. So this one is railguns to tear down shields and pickets to sentinel point defense to intercept missiles, and it goes to line range to improve its chance to hit. Then the cruisers are the hail of arrows. They are just swarmer missiles. They stay back at artillery range. They have regenerative hull tissue. And the two battleships I have are the Eyes of Medusa. Now eventually I'm going to replace this front mount with an X weapon, a spinal mount weapon. But right now it's a large laser. And then I've got missiles fitted in most of the other slots with two large railguns in the middle, just to help tear down shields, because these have a really long range and can start tearing down the shields before I get in range for other weapons. And it has a lot of regenerative hull tissue. So the whole point of this one is primarily to overwhelm the opponent. I will have lots and lots of missiles, mainly swarmer missiles, and then some fast-moving corvettes that get up there, and they will eventually have disruptors and just completely bypass the shields about the same time the missiles are. Kind of like running into Medusa. Now eventually I will add a Titan to this when I get Titans, and of course it is going to be, Medusa itself. For Strike Force Gorgon, I decided Strike Force Gorgon is going to be the stealthy one. It's just going to have corvettes and frigates, 80 corvettes and 40 frigates. And the corvettes are the Gorgon's Claws. They have flak batteries and small X-ray lasers to work on armor. And the flak batteries, in case I run into any... These guys are mainly intended to sneak up on stations. And the Gorgon's Breath are the frigates. And this eventually, I believe, will become a disruptor. Yeah, I believe I'm going to make this a disruptor. In which case, the lasers will probably get switched to... Ripper autocannons at that point for the Claws. But since I don't have disruptors yet, I'm going to keep the Ripper autocannons here. And of course this sneaks up and hits them with torpedoes. Strike Force Dragon is all about plasma. Now it's going to have 32 corvettes, the Wormling class, 2 plasma and a point defense, and it swarms up there at picket range. The frigates are the Worm class. They are proton launcher torpedoes and antimatter missiles. So they just kind of hang back and spit at the opponents at artillery range. Then the destroyers are the Wyvern class. Now these are also artillery range. They have a medium advanced railgun to tear down shields and the large plasma accelerator to destroy armor and hull. And then the Hunting Drake class is my cruiser. It does have a hangar bay on it, and it's a torpedo class, even though it only has the one torpedo. Proton launcher. Yeah, it fires that proton launcher as it's going to close distance, but it's just really going to be doing strafing runs. And as it gets in closer, the plasma accelerators and the autocannons will tear up the opponent. And it has a lot of afterburners. So this is intended to do strafing runs. This has a pretty long cooldown, so I intend it to get in close, hit with its other weapons, and then come back around for another pass with the proton launcher. And the Nesting Dragon is my battleship. It has 2 hangar bays on it, and it is loaded with plasma accelerators and has 1 large Ripper autocannon. This comes into line range, it just sort of wades into combat and starts attacking opponents. So this one isn't really heavy on the artillery, apart from like the Wyverns and the Wyverns are really the only artillery I have. Everything else will sweep in close. Now, Hippogriff has been... Why is it being reinforced? Must have accidentally clicked a button. Were any of the others being reinforced? Did I accidentally hit reinforce all or something? Let me double check that. Strike Force Hippogriff is my heavy strike craft fleet. So the main part of this is the battleships. There will be 5 in here. I will be, right now I've got 8 corvettes in here as filler because this was originally my stealthing fleet. As soon as I get another ship filled into one of these categories, I can remove them and bump this up to 5. So the Hippogriff Roost is a carrier. It stays back at carrier range, has lots of missiles and strike craft to send out, and it has a lot of speed to keep its distance. The Hippogriff Nest is another carrier, also with missiles and strike craft, and both of these have point defense, so these kind of lurk back. Yeah, these two lurk back and basically just launch lots of missiles and strike craft at the opponent. Now the destroyers are the only other ship in here. They're going to be the Hippogriff class. These will come up to picket range, and these just basically do kind of swarm tactics for a destroyer. It hits them with the beak and the claws, and it has afterburners to make sure it's really fast. They just close the distance to hit other targets, while these just launch hordes and hordes of strike craft. And Strike Force Pegasus is my rapid response blitz. So starting out, it has no corvettes. It is frigates, destroyers, cruisers, and battleships. Starting out with the frigates, it has the Charging Colt class. This one is torpedo. It comes in with armored torpedoes and a small Ripper autocannon and just does strafing runs on the opponent. Then we have the Pegasus class, and it has its 4 hooves, the autocannons, and a little bit of flak battery, and it just basically charges in to picket range as well to start hitting opponents. Then the cruiser, and I may change that to Rampaging Stallion, or maybe change the Colt to Rampaging Colt. Yeah, but the Charging Stallion class also is a torpedo class cruiser. It comes up really close, and it has a lot of autocannons and just basically tears into the opponent, has a lot of speed. And the battleship is the Flying Stampede class. It comes into line range, and it does have a couple of swarmer missiles to launch, but once it gets up close, it's autocannons and X-ray lasers. The small X-ray lasers have the same range as the large autocannons, and it also has hangar bays. But this is a very fast ship. These are all intended to close the distance, not hang back, come up and just chew things up really quick with autocannons and strike craft. But those are the revamps of my 5 fleets. Strike Force Chimera is the leftover, which I haven't decided where I'm going to stick it. The leftover frigates, because I had 10 extra frigates when I pulled all the frigates out, and the other Strike Force, you're supposed to be merging with somebody. Yeah, these are 3 Hippogriffs. That's supposed to be merging with Strike Force Hippogriff. There we go. But Strike Force Chimera is kind of a leftover. I'm sending it to Polagar Station. And I also will have the 8 corvettes that are currently in Hippogriff as surplus. So I have 8 corvettes and 10 frigates to kind of plan out my next fleet. I think the next fleet will be Chimera, and I'll start planning around Chimera as I get the naval capacity. Right now, I'm going to be hard-pressed to get the naval capacity I need for the fleets I have. I need to jump up about 300 more naval capacity to fit all of these ships in here and get my full 120 for all of these. Actually, it probably won't be quite that high when some of these fleets end up merging, because 120 times 5 should be about 600. And then I think it is 90 more for Fortress Legionnaires, so 690 is what I'm going to need, and I will have 18 left over, so it'll be about 708 that I need to get up to. But to get the full 120, I am going to need another 102, so it would end up being 810, what my final naval capacity needs to be, which is a huge amount of naval coverage over what I need. But that is the point when you are an overlord, is to really overwhelm, is to really be able to support much more fleet than your empire size would need. That's the reason I'm getting a lot of taxes. But I'm going to go ahead and advance this some so these fleets can merge and we can get started on the retrofitting. Now let's see, how long is it going to take most of these fleets to get there? Some of them will be there in months. Some of them take a little longer. Yeah, that one's about 3 months. I know one of these was going to take 7 months. Mandate of Massam 3 closed their borders to us. There's a new war. Miravandian Enterprises declared war on the Tender Zun, and since they are a member... Yes, the entire Federation has ended up declaring war on the Tender Zun and their allies. Now let's see if it's got a name yet. Nope, just the Glossberhenian Tender Zun War. United Nations of Earth is in a research agreement with the Rishethian state.
Ships refitted.
Who was refitting? Oh, I had to refit a few more ships in my defense platforms. That's right. If I go back up to my defense platforms, yeah, they're all good now. We have a new proposal. Building a better tomorrow. Progress cannot be limited by any obstacles that stand before us. Let us share techniques with one another to aid in harnessing and dominating the natural world. This will boost our worker pop resource output and our alloys and minerals from jobs. I'm going to support that. I'm going to go ahead and oppose relocating the galactic market, just so I know it's been proposed. Advanced Xeno studies. There's much to learn from all of the cultures of the universe. We should add additional information gathering instrumentation to all star bases while working more closely with enclaves. I must have missed this one at some time. A Cano organism proposed it. They provide additional society research, and it enhances the effectiveness of the Art College, the Curator Think Tank, the Salvage Works, and the Mercenary Garrison. Artificial intelligence outlawed and non-interference policies are banned. We would be in breach of that. While I do like boosting the Curator Think Tank, I'm going to oppose this one because I'm in breach of it. I do not want... I could easily switch from having that outlawed. But right now, I'll worry about that if it gets close to passing, because I don't have observation posts anymore. So the only real benefit I'm getting out of this are the mercenary garrisons and the Curator Think Tank. And I have just replaced all my mercenary garrisons with fleet academies, because right now I'm not defending, I'm going to be churning out ships, so I want the ships to start with more experience. And of course, relocating the galactic market was the Chopin hegemony. But I believe that is all of the ones I'm either... I have all made decisions on all of these. Good. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, but I've started running fleet supremacy. Our Navy is our best means to project power. This edict will prioritize them above lesser needs. More starting experience for our fleets, they build faster, more diplomatic weight from fleet power. Miravandian Coalition is in a research agreement with the autocracy of Rakaron. Strike Force Garuda is the last one to merge. It'll be done in about a month and a half. And then I can see what ships start the upgrades and see what ships I'm still missing. It looks like it's going to be right after July starts.
Tracking spaceborne life form.
Where? There's still that space amoeba over there. It's probably going to be something that popped up where I have a spy network. That I saw something I didn't know, like this one here. That's the ether drake. But yeah, I don't see... I'll just start checking my immediate area, and if I don't see anything I want to go hunt, I'm just not going to worry about it. I do need to go... Well, my fleets are in the middle of upgrading and repairing, but I do eventually need to get down here and deal with these space amoeba and meet these privateers. There we go. Everything's merged. So Strike Force Medusa currently has all 40 of its corvettes. It's missing, does only have 40 corvettes. It says I currently have 90. So 40 of them, that would be 30 more. That would be 20 more from that. So yeah, that's 90. So we have all 40 of our corvettes, 15 of our destroyers, and 5 of our cruisers. Let's go ahead and start the upgrades. Strike Force Gorgon has all of its ships. Let's start the upgrades here. This is going to be expensive. Strike Force Dragon has 92. So it is 32 of those. That would be another 32, making it 64. 64 and 24 is 88. That would be 108. Oh, wait. Frigates don't count double. 108 minus 16 is 92, which is exactly what it says it has. So it has all of those. 1.6k for that. So let's see if we can get some more alloys. I'll go ahead and queue up the upgrades. Strike Force Hippogriff. I can move out the corvettes from it. Alright, so let's transfer the corvettes, all of the corvettes, out of here. No, not Strike Force Titan getting this. Strike Force... There we go. Alright, now, I'm going to have Strike Force Titan. Well, I want Strike Force Titan to merge with Strike Force Chimera. Now, if we go back to Hippogriff and remove the attack pickets so that we can add the battleship, it currently only has 56 of its ships. The destroyers would be 36, that'd be another 20, that's the 56. And that leaves Strike Force Pegasus with 74 ships. 24 frigates, 30 more in destroyers, that would be 54. And 20 more here would be 74. Now I'm going to need a lot more alloys. They're fairly cheap. I'll buy 2,500. Actually, I'll go ahead and buy 5,000. And see how long that lasts me. But well, I could go ahead and do another trade. Let's go back to the Sorin. And see if we can get some more alloys from them. Let's get another 10,000. What can we trade them? Let's see if they're interested in 500 minor artifacts. And that is it. 500 minor artifacts for 10,000 alloys. That is a good deal. But now that we've got all those fleets merged and in the middle of upgrading, I will be able to start reinforcing the fleets when the upgrades are done. And we can finally get our war machine back underway. They agreed. So we have another slew of alloys again.
Science Division report success.
We have capped on food. I wasn't even paying attention. Sell 10,000. That's the only thing we were in risk of capping on, I believe. Let's double check our moats and stuff. Yeah, we can hold 25,000 of these and 3,000 artifacts. Quantum probes. Advanced probes that can thoroughly analyze subjects on a subatomic level, generating a wealth of valuable research data. We can get positronic AI, that is a research speed boost. That's expensive though. The advanced combat roles would take about 2 years. We can get back to working on advanced cloaking, and I think that's what we're going to do. It'll take 2 years to knock out the advanced cloaking field. That'll automatically be applied to our science vessels. We also have already gotten enhanced cloaking strength here, so that will give us a cloak level of about 3, I think. Let's look at our cloak ships. Yeah, right now we have a cloaking strength of 2. That would give us a cloak strength of 3. And the advanced cloaking field would also allow us to create some cloaked destroyers. So I could change up Strike Force Gorgon a little bit to add in destroyers, but I'll probably wait for that until I get more fleet capacity, because I would rather have the really enhanced cloak. These guys are going to be sneaky right now. Because every tier of ship you go up with the cloaking is a lower level of cloaking, and they're easier to spot. So when I get cloaking level 2 for my corvettes and frigates, it's only cloaking level 1 for my destroyers. And on and on. Another stray communique. Politician. Doesn't say what world. Unity. Yeah. We'll fire another damn politician. Let's go ahead and go to Unity, and that person is unemployed as a worker now. Making sure it didn't mess up my entertainers or anything, shuffling them around. I think I would actually like the artisans. Well, no, I got enough surplus, so I'll just keep growing humans. There's actually been a few days in real life that have passed since 2335 and me starting this at 2336. And in that time, I've had a bit of an epiphany about a few things. I also have a correction to make. I had said before about turning worlds into ecumenopolises, that you should base it on whether or not they provide a decent amount of resources. That is not the only factor. You will lose features as well. So this planet, I would lose these gas plant engineer jobs from the spore vents. I would also lose the NEMAs. So it would be a bad idea to transfer this one, not only because it is a decent mining world, but because it has several features that are very useful. This planet is providing 34 exotic gases for me, and I would lose that by losing the gas plant engineer jobs. Any planet that has an abundance, like this one has 2 crystal mines, 2 mode harvesting traps and a crystal mine, that's a decent amount of strategic resources that it provides. Now maybe if I had a ton of refineries, but still being able to use workers to work the mines and the mode harvesting traps instead of having to use a specialist who requires more upkeep is a better idea, because the specialist also requires minerals to create what it creates with these jobs, and it only creates 3 where these miners are producing 4. So any place that has a decent amount of rare planetary features, this one, even just the 2 mode harvesting traps apart from the generator districts would make me not want to turn this into an Ecumenopolis. But on to my little epiphany. I realize every time I declare war on this empire, I can only choose one of them to vassalize. and then we'll be at peace for 10 years. So at that pace, if the war, as big as they are, the war will probably drag out close to 10 years. So I'm picking up one member of this federation every 20 years. At that pace, it'd be 100 years before I had 5 of them drug out of here. So I need to bank up, and this will take about 6 years. I need to bank up 600 influence, because my plan is to claim Masum, Vuzabaru, and Huff, and then declare to vassalize the Uthabulan Union. So that way, if I get to a status quo, I will get them as a vassal if I occupy all their area, and if I occupy these 3 places, I will also destroy these 3 empires, and then can spin off each of those systems as a separate vassal. Now that will probably take about 100 influence for Masum, but it might take 200 for these 2. So by the end of the war, I'm going to need at least 300 to 400 more influence again. In order to get to status quo, I can't just hit these people. I have to push through here and into the Miravandian Coalition and Enterprises, which are both under Glosterwahinian, so I could fight through their space. But to actually get to the Glosterwahinians, the Jinlot Conclave is in the way. Well, right now, I could propose subjugation and they would accept for very little. But I've got no way to get troops or defenses over there. So what I plan to do is, as I'm pushing through in a war with the Glosterwahinians, I'm just going to declare war on the Jinlot too, and just sack their vassalize them on the way through, because they're just a one-system empire if nobody else gobbles them up. Now, unfortunately, if I was in a good position to invade, this would be the perfect time to, since the Glosterwahinians have just started a war with the Tendrazun. They're kind of bogged down with the Tendrazun a little bit, and I would be able to push through. There's the Glosterwahinian. They have some 20k fleets. What is my fleet sizes? About equivalent. So we are currently, I think, equivalent in fleet power. And that's not counting their other vassals, but most of their vassals are pathetic compared to me. They're inferior, and I will have my allies over here helping against these 2. They're inferior, and they're going to be practically non-existent. You've got a human president? That's one of my humans. I need to shut down my damn migration treaties. People are trading my humans off. You know, maybe this human could convince them to join us, but oh well. You're going to be annexed soon anyway. But yeah, that's my plan. Now, I still have to do all of the refitting and rebuilding of my fleets, and at the time I'm also going to be doing some economic development. I do need to finish. The developer currently has no orders. I do need to finish building my megastructures, my hyper relay network at least, which is going to delay my influence game, but I think I'm going to hold off on the orbital rings right now until I have the amount banked or close to the amount banked I need to make these 3 claims. And I don't have to do all the 3 claims at once. I can do them as I build up. And then once I have all 3 claims in place, get ready to declare war, I can let my influence have built up a little more. Now, are you are about to go there, so you are going to need your hyper relay queued up as well. And from there, Honteron will be the last relay this guy is building. After I get this relay, I just have 2 more. Well, after I get the relay I'm working on, I have 3 more I have to queue up for. So between those 3 and these 2, that is 125 influence I'm going to be burning on the hyper relays. Now, I kind of hope Rackaron gets hyper relay networks and starts building their own. I do need to, if they haven't bothered to build, start at least building down this way so I can get my troops reinforced quickly to at least Hazar, which is going to be a battlefront. I'm not that worried about pushing all the way over this way. Yeah, they don't seem to be building hyper relays. Matter of fact, they've got a whole bunch of idle constructors. But yeah, I do need a hyper relay network through their space just to be able to travel and be able to get my people down there quickly, because right now I'm going to cancel this. No, he's in the middle of upgrading. I can do it with a science ship. Science ship is about the same speed. 1 year to get from Shaula Station to Hazar. I need a hyper relay network to be able to get down there a little faster, because I'm going to need to help defend Rackaron. But yeah, you just go right back to that base. Now we'll be getting star fortresses soon, so I will be using up some alloys to upgrade those, and that will give me another source to keep bumping up my naval capacity as I reinforce my fleets. A little over a year we'll have climate restoration, so I will be able to start terraforming Kornagi 4. And in 4 years, pretty close to the end of this episode, we will get another tradition. And most likely I'm going with quid pro quo first, so that I can start accumulating favors, since I am supporting other people's resolutions, not passing my own. And then I will probably go down these 2 lines before I get over there, and then finally finish this one off. And if I get the technology that gives me an extra ascension perk, it is a society tech, I believe, and am qualified to pick up either psionic ascension or biological ascension, preferably biological ascension. I will probably be interrupting politics to at least open up biological ascension to get me the clone vats, because the other epiphany I have had is completely shutting down population or adding population controls for every slave species I have when I get clone vats, so that they are assembled there and don't interrupt the growing, so I can just grow humans. And of course, whatever is being brought over through migration. Though I think I need to shut the migration treaties down. I will take a slight diplomacy hit to the people I shut it down with. Alright, you're currently growing. Is there any place that has very little progress? You'll be done in 2 months. I think Pro Clause... Oh wait, you. Fincastle. I want to see if I can get a Gleer, because they have gaseous byproducts, so they prefer... I want a Gleer and a Praku, if I can get them. So I'm going to try growing a Gleer here to see if I can hang on to it or before it fades away. And I believe Truett, I'll take the progress hit. I want to try and get the Praku over here. So I have one of each of those to use as slave species as well, since they will help provide crystals and exotic gases. Now these guys are natural sociologists and all of that, so those aren't the best traits. I just want one of each right now, and I will worry about expanding them after I can genetically modify them. I could see if I can buy any. Well, I could buy one of each. So yeah, let me go back. Let's put Fincastle back on humans. So I just lost some progress here on Truett to a human. I lost a significant amount of progress, but so be it. I don't mind that. so it takes a little longer to get another human over here. I should have looked at the slaves first, but I didn't. And what we are actually going to do is buy the slaves for here, because they will actually have the most habitability there, I think. So let's go to Truett. And we want... Why does the Praku have less habitability on a Savannah world than the Gleer? That's messed up. We're going to buy one of each. Now if we go to Truett, they're currently clerks. That's fine. This one only has... Why does this one only have 75 habitability? Oh, because it's an Arctic preference. Yeah, they will only have 75 habitability on any world except for Arctic, Tundra, and Alpine, which I have none. That's fine. I don't care if your habitability sucks. I've got one of each of your pops to be able to start cloning later on. Yeah, so since I need to bank up influence before my next war, that means I won't really be doing a significant amount of espionage. I'm basically going to be having these people just provide intel for me. And most of them are going to have it pretty close to 100. Yeah, the Miravandians, I just started. Same for the Soran, so they'll be a little bit low. United Nations of Earth, I have full intel on. Glosterhenians, I have full intel on. Hierarchy of Moffith, I have full intel on. So I actually have a good visual on all of their territories. See, what does it list their fleet strength as? That's Habinti Unified Worlds. How did I manage to click on the one world? They're listed as superior, so we don't want to go to war with the Hierarchy of Moffith, which means we can't go to war with the Veteresian League, because they are their vassals. United Nations of Earth is the vassal of the Soran, so we're not going to be going to war with them, but we can still keep a visual on their territory for now. Gives us nice visual. They do have cloaking. They have a cloaking strength of 3. Oh, and now that I have full visual, let me check their star bases. I can't see the actual modules. But they have ancient suspension fields and neutronium armor. Level 3 storm cannons, level 3 plasma. Level 4 sensors. They only have level 4 reactors? I got you beaten reactors? Really? But yeah, they have the ancient suspension field that has shield hardening. Each of these is adding 15% shield hardening. So does that mean, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15, 16? Does that mean they have full shield hardening? Yeah, see, this is showing the Archaeo-Engineer bonus. More shield hit points. Now that I've reloaded the game, if I were to look at one of my fleets, it does not list the Archaeo-Engineer bonus to the damage. There, it listed here. So my ancient driller drones do 34.78, and I get an Archaeotech weapon damage bonus of 33%. Of course, a higher ship fire rate and a higher... There's where bonuses are listed, is where you mouse over this. But we're still in the process of several upgrades. So it is going to be a little bit longer than I thought before we actually go to war. Now, I don't need to expand my naval capacity right now because I am not reinforcing fleets. I'm currently upgrading fleets. And I have also had a thought about Chimera. Now, Chimera has the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a snake. But it is also used basically to mean any sort of Frankenstein's monster mythological creature that has multiple body parts mixed in. There have been variants of a Chimera, basically. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to do with Strike Force Chimera, is make them an amalgam of other fleets I have. So ones that are actual animals, even in mythical, we have the Dragon, the Hippogriff, and the Pegasus. So I think Strike Force Chimera is going to be divided into 3 parts, having a third of each of these. But rather than like splitting it down the middle and just taking a third of all of these and stick them in there, I'm going to have the corvettes and frigates be from Dragon. From Hippogriff, I'm going to take the battleships. So Pegasus is going to be cruisers and destroyers. So I'm going to have about 40 points worth of each. And I never did get around to changing that name from, both of them say charging. I was thinking of changing one to rampaging. Yeah, I think I probably should. But I don't, I can do that when I worry about upgrades again. But yeah, so we're going to have the Wormling and the Worm here. So we're going to refit this one to be a Worm. And since we want about 40 points worth, it's going to be 24 corvettes and 16 frigates. And then the next thing we will add is the destroyers and cruisers from Strike Force Pegasus. And we want about 40 points of them. So that would be about 5 and 10. Yeah, 5 cruisers and 10 destroyers should come up to be about 40 points. But we can tweak that a little bit. Like we could drop it to make it 6 cruisers. That would be 24 points. And then 8 destroyers. So that is the Pegasus. Now this is a brawler. So if we had 8 of them, and then of course for the cruiser we want the Charging Stallion. Which is also a brawler type. And we would want 6 of them. Now these frigates are on artillery. They hang back with the proton launchers and the antimatter. And the Wormlings are actually an interceptor that comes up close and has a picket stuff. So it's going to be up there with the Pegasus and the Charging Stallion. The Pegasus and the Charging Stallion, the Pegasus has a little bit of point defense, but the Wormlings will kind of compensate for that. And for the last 40, we are going to use the Hippogriff Roost. 5 battleships in this fleet. And this is heavy on the strike craft and the missiles, and has plenty of point defense to stay back with itself. So that is going to be Strike Force Chimera. It's got the head of an eagle, the Hippogriff, the body of a horse, and the tail of a dragon. And we'll go ahead and tell it to upgrade that fleet. Although I think Polagar is currently in use with upgrades. Let's actually relocate. Let's see, we have Shaula, Safe, Marik, Polagar, Deneb. Yeah, Pegasus is already at Deneb. Yeah, I guess we'll stay at Polagar as well. Though it is currently in the middle of upgrading a different fleet. It'll take a while for Chimera. And I think after we get the upgrades there with Chimera, we will probably relocate Chimera to, say, Shaula Station, which is closer to where our main adversary is. Or to Deneb, since we do have a hyperlane network we could quickly get around. And just keep this one back at the capital, because Chimera is probably not going to participate in the war, because it will still be being reinforced more than likely after I'm ready to start wars, because it's going to take a while for me to slowly build up my naval capacity to the 830 that it claims I need. Now to claim this system is 211. To claim this system is only 182, and to claim this system is 223. Sovereignty of Tuxicali is in a migration treaty with the Soran. Mandate of Massum is in a migration treaty with the Hierarchy of Mothith. Another thing to have done would have been to use espionage on the Veteresians to kind of harm their relations with the Glosswerhenians. So the Glosswerhenians would not have the ability to reinforce up this way through their territory, trying to get them to the point where they close their borders to them, basically. But that would take a lot of espionage, a lot of influence, and a lot of time, because I would have to constantly be running operations until I harmed their relations enough where they had problems. I'm just going to have to leave a token fleet up here to kind of watch for them coming through. We're earning almost 7 influence a month, so that means we get about 80 points a year. So to get 600 would take about 8 years, or 7 to 8 years. They gave us a chunk of research with their dividends this year, or this time it went through.
Science Division reports success.
And we have Star Fortress. These mighty space forts will provide a focal point for all military activity in a star system, and their presence is sure to deter all but the most stubborn attackers. We can already go straight up to Citadel, but that would take only 2 years? I was expecting it to be longer. The Mega Cannon, our first X-Class weapon, 3 years, 9 months for the kinetic battery now, and 1.5 years for the Stormfire. I would like to get both the kinetic battery for large weapon slots and get the Mega Cannon. The kinetic battery's fixed. Mega Cannon would take 3 years. But Citadels will take less time. I'm a specialist. She's getting up there in years. We're going for Citadels, because that's one of the last things we need for Mega Engineering. We needed Citadels, we needed battleships, we needed 0-point power, which we already have. And I want to say there's one other thing we need, but I cannot think of what it is off the top of my head. And if we get Citadels, that should unlock our ability to get Titans. If we get Titans, that should unlock our ability to eventually get the Colossus. So yeah, that isn't quite as fast as knocking out kinetic batteries, and I'd love to knock out kinetic batteries, because I do have plans for that in the ship designer, for using the artillery stuff on some of these large weapon ones. Having kinetic batteries defending my platforms, but the X-Class giving me another option for battleships, because that is actually what I want, is X-Class weapons on the Eye of Medusa. But it's not necessarily... Yeah, because these I could switch to kinetic batteries, the 2 large advanced railguns. But instead of the front here being an X-ray laser, I would like an energy-based X-Class weapon. And we should probably begin upgrading our stations, because they will take a while to upgrade. I think the first one I want to do is the trade hub. And then the anchorages. Alright, the hotkey for upgrade is U. So I can just go through here tapping U on most of these. Let's see, that would be 5,000 more. Yeah, what the hell. Let's go ahead and get all of our defensive stations. And that would just leave Larkin Singularity. What the hell, upgrade it too. Now that did drain all of those alloys I bought for upgrades, and we aren't generating a whole lot, so I may have to end up either buying or trading for alloys. Oh, they're cheap as dirt right now. 10,000 got me 5,000 alloys back. That's good for now because I earn a lot of energy credits.
Ships refitted.
Looks like all of my starbase fleets were upgraded. Now these upgrades to the stations will take 2 years. Uthibulin Union broke their migration treaty with the Verzak. I have already broken both of my migration treaties with the United Miravandium and the Citadel Research Institute. So I should be jumping another half a point. Yeah, 7.34 now. Now, unfortunately, that did a little bit of an opinion hit to both of them, and I think that may limit the trust a little bit more with them, but that'll bleed off fairly quickly, so I'm not that worried about it. Yeah, they're all still positive. I have begun running volatile land clearance so that I can start clearing out the sprawling slums on Truett and see what population I end up getting out of it. As it comes closer, I'm going to look at my current population level and see when it pops what I get. I believe I could change Oxenlitter's population controls to enabled now, but I want to keep them disabled for now. As a matter of fact, I think I'm probably going to end up going ahead and disabling the population controls of the Praku, the Rogerians, and the Gleer. I don't want them breeding, and that would enable me to disable forced growth on a lot of these places. I'm going to wait until they grow. But like here, I only have to worry about Ichnerval and Farine, both of which I can use. Farine I can use on any world as domestic servants, if nothing else, to keep the amenities up. And Ichnerval I can use on almost any world right now as my chattel slaves. There's a pirate fleet that has just popped up here where my transports are. My transports need to land. Yeah, these transports were leftovers from when this area had a overlord garrison and I wasn't able to get them out of the territory in time, so I'll just re-land them there. Hopefully I can remember they're there. See if they get to land before they get attacked.
Fleet action underway.
That would be a no. Well, I can get them out of there. Actually, I think the pirates are about to be destroyed by the base. Oh yeah, that base has got them. They may lose a defense platform, but it looks like the outpost is kicking their butt. What did the defense platform have? Oh, autocannons and plasma accelerators. And of course the station has autocannons. That sucks. Did they do that to all of my bases? No, my bases have the lasers. Good. Okay, they're keeping the lasers. It would really suck if all of my bases, star bases, switched to autocannons. They're short range. I want the longest possible range medium weapons because most ships are going to hang back. It's only the little ships that are going to come up and swarm. But then again, that's the reason I make lots of defense platforms, so I have control over the guns. Wupan died. And I think that means I need a new scientist. What do I have to as options? A propulsion and an eager. What does the Citadel Research Institute have as options? Propulsion, archaeo studies, military theory, and field manipulation. Theirs have not changed. So let us just, I guess, get the eager one. I don't really need a propulsion. Well, that propulsion's about to die. But I'm going to be using her for another 20 years. So we'll just grab the eager one because they're cheap and have no upkeep. Oh, you're the one who's idle in safe station anyway. Yeah, I realize now why I didn't drop so much in leader cost. Because as a feudal society, my governors don't even, or my leaders don't cost unity upkeep if they're employed. So there are only the handful that are sitting around doing next to nothing that are getting me any sort of upkeep cost. I'm curious if that one carries over. Yeah, this one, no cost, no cost, no cost. Actually, just being in the ship, whether the ship is doing anything or not, appears to reduce the cost. Yeah, because I'm not seeing a cost on them. Yeah, upkeep, upkeep, upkeep. All of the upkeep sections are blank. So yeah, I'm not really using any leader upkeep. So getting that technology I knocked out under society, the collective self, the leader upkeep didn't help me. But the leader level cap did a little bit. But not a humongous amount. I mean, my leader cap is like level 8 now. Most of my people die before they get anywhere near that. 6 for scientists. I haven't had a scientist live past like 4 in a long time. I'm still debating running away, but we'll see how well this battle goes. I don't think I need to run. Didn't get any debris out of it because I didn't actually shoot anything. Still a ton of upgrades to go. Deneb is the closest to being done. We currently have 3 humans, 3 oxen litters, and 9 Rogerians, and 1 of each of the others. This sprawling slum will be cleared in about a month, and we will see what we get. So it's 33911.
Field engineers have cleared a blocker.
We got a Rogerian out of that. I expected as much because this is their homeworld, and even though we have population controls on, we're going to be getting them on their homeworld. So we'll go ahead and clear out those for the extra Rogerians. That's fine. Soran Combined Clans is in a research agreement with the sovereignty of Tuxcali.
Ships refitted.
No matter how you comb and prune, your pitiful fur growths will always be the laughingstock of all properly hirsute beings in the galaxy. You guys really want me to kick your butt, don't you? It's a shame I can't get over to you. Man, right now, I would not mind spending 300 influence for a quantum catapult, honestly, because it would make it so much easier for me to get over here and get people who have been annoying me, or to do the secret fealty war for that. Strike Force Hippogriff is fully refitted. Now they still do need to reinforce. I need 2 destroyers, 5 cruisers, and 5 battleships, and Strike Force Hippogriff will be at full. Now, I did replace all of the mercenary garrisons here with fleet academies since I was about to be churning out more ships. I wanted the additional ship starting experience. And when we upgrade to the Star Fortress, I am most likely going to bring the mercenary garrison back. I really can't think of anything else I would want here. Yeah, the mercenary garrison, I could do a disruption field generator or target uplink computer, but I don't think those are as necessary. And for the 4 slot, I will probably either put a hydroponics bay on there or a resource silo back. For my additional module slots, now that I have neutron launchers, I could actually put torpedo batteries on here and hopefully they would use them. Or proton launchers, rather. Or I could just add more hangar bays. Although I think my defense platforms give me a decent amount of hangar bays. But yes, now that Strike Force Hippogriff is fully refitted. The other one is still in the process. That would be full strength? No, 630. We need 2 more battleships. Yeah, let's drop the Deneb stations. Let's just have it queue up right now the 2 destroyers, because they are still refitting Strike Force Chimera. It only has a few ships left to upgrade, I think. I'll wait till it's done upgrading before I queue up more, but those will be on there just in case the upgrades finish faster than I realize. The Fel-Null Cooperative has embraced the Martial Supremacy Alliance and become more militaristic. The research time did jump for a lot of these. I didn't even think when I was looking at the prices that it was taking into account I had stored research, so my progress was higher than it should have been for the full time. It was assuming I would have been able to maintain that pace indefinitely. Uthabulan Union is in a research agreement with the Autocracy of Rakaron. Why are my allies getting buddy-buddy with my rivals? Shala's station now has its network connection. We're setting up to do one in Larkin Singularity and then Kornagi. And then once we hit Rastaban, we will be done on this end. I guess we can go ahead and get started. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'd be quite a bit more influence. But it's kind of a necessary precursor to the war, I think, to be able to get down there quickly. Do we have open borders? Yes. Still got a lot of upgrades before we even get to those destroyers. So no need to queue anything else up. Fel-Null broke off the commercial pact with the sovereignty of Tuxicali. We should get climate restoration next month. Strike Force Chimera is finally refitted, and we can wait until April to start queuing up more ships. In April, we're going to have to start expanding.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Our naval capacity. Climate restoration. By advancing our understanding of atmospheric transformation, we will be able to terraform even the most ecologically devastated worlds. Ministry of Production would be useful. Adds another politician and boosts my metallurgist. That would take 2 years. Clone Army would take 1.5 years. First League filing offices are still 3 years. 6 months we could knock out another tile blocker, but most of those are going to get cleared out when we terraform the planet. I think I'm going to go ahead and knock out gene clinics, and I forgot to swap to my biologist, by the way. I meant to swap to my biologist for the better chance, and I completely forgot about it. It's what happens when it's a couple of days between times that you get to play. But we will have gene clinics knocked out before the year is out. I might actually make use of them on the planets just for the population growth for now. Of course, only humans can work that job, so that means I'd have to be pulling humans off of other specialist jobs that they would be better suited for, which is the disadvantage.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Pegasus is fully upgraded, and it is now working on, well, that cruiser is going to tie up for quite a while. I actually don't need this other cruiser queued up right now. I'd rather have the alloys for queuing up ships at other locations. Looks like I need more rare crystals. They're still awfully expensive. I've got enough surplus motes, I can just keep trading. I earn motes fast enough. I just hope this trade goes through before the month is out, so I can build this. That would be a yes. That is the final one for the factory to build, and I'm not going to start until I get geared for the war. I'm not going to start on my orbital relays, but I am going to get in position for one. Now, I think the first orbital relay, all I can really do are modules, so I don't know that they'd be much help right now anyway. So actually, I think I'm going to go back to Deneb just so I'm at the place with the crew quarter for now. But I do need to get started after I get Kornagi and Rastaban. So that's 50 more influence going to be spent there. I do need to slowly get started here. Now, since I earn about 80 influence a year, that means if I'm building one of these a year, I'm still earning over 50 a year. So it would take me, at that rate, 10 years to get to 600. However, I don't need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's close to 10 years. Crap. It's going to take me a little longer to get ready. Of course, I still got a whole bunch of alloys and ships to build. And I forgot to start getting my naval capacity up. I'm getting it up a little bit by having more culture workers work. I guess I can wait till July to go through and make sure it's happening. I may get a little bit over, but I can handle the excess, I think, for now.
Field engineers have cleared a blocker.
That would be the last sprawling slum, and I actually did get an oxalator. I got a human out of that when it appears, because I'm still at 10 Rogerians. So I actually do have a culture worker here now. But that's the last blocker I'm going to bother clearing right now. The rest will all get
Ships
cleared
refitted
when I do a terraforming of a inhabited world, which is necessary there. Strike Force Medusa is now refitted. And I guess we'll start on its battleships. And it looks like I'm going to need more alloys. I'm low on energy credits, so I guess we're trading for them again. I could spare some exotic gases too. How much do you value them? I bet a few minor artifacts. That ought to do. Oh! We had a scientist die. With 2 months left on that one. Alright, what can I recruit now? Military theorist, computing expert. I'll go ahead and get the computing expert. She's one of the younger ones. Because I still have, well, not for much longer, but I still do have a military theorist. So we have Yekaterina Ulanova.
Science Division reports success.
We have finally done gene clinics, just to get it out of the way. The colonization of alien worlds has opened up an entirely new field of biomedical research. We have the auto-curating vault. That'll boost our bureaucrats. More naval capacity. I actually might consider that one now. Nutritional plenitude. I think I have enough surplus food. Let's see, right now we are consuming 650. This would add 25% to the upkeep, so that would add another 150. Or, yeah, about 150. That could help with our population increase. It would only take 9 months. Auto-curating vault would take 20. Naval capacity would take 12. So yeah, let's get the gene crops. Running that edict will cut into my Unity a bit. Dragon is fully upgraded, and it only needed one cruiser, or could only afford one cruiser right now. The last cruiser, then it's got 3 battleships. As soon as that trade goes through, I can add more. There. The Soren agreed to the deal, so I can go back to Strike Force Dragon and tell them to reinforce. And I don't need both of those queued up right now. Looks like I am going to need a lot more alloys to get my fleets set up.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Interstellar Picarian Coalition was given association status with the Allied Independent Systems. We have completed advanced cloaking fields. Advancements in rare crystal lensing technology have greatly improved cloaking efficiency. Be 3 years for more physics research. 14 months for more research station output. And that includes minor artifacts. Let's go ahead and knock that one out. It's either that or 14 months for the barrier point defense. But yeah, let's go ahead and knock out the research station output. Now if we go to Ship Designer and go to our stealthers, we would have to upgrade them with the improved generator. That adds an extra cloaking strength. Now if we look at the destroyers, now that we have the advance field, we can put an advance field on destroyers with only a +1 strength. But I'm not interested in adding in ships that reduce the overall cloaking strength of my fleet right now. Maybe when I get a really a large bonus to cloaking, I might consider that. But there are already people that have some outrageous cloaking detection. Yeah, they're up to exceptional grade 3 in Earth. Exceptional grade 3 there. Looks like the Adnoran Reapers do not have cloaking detection. And still no cloaking detection over here that I can see, and I have good intel on a lot of these areas. So far it looks like this resolution is going to fail. Access to success. The terraforming of Ofang 4 is settling down. We have more resources. We can add different districts. It really doesn't matter, but I think we'll add more mining districts for now. See if we can't develop more space for mining districts, since that was the majority of the districts anyway. And now we have another world we can colonize. Melpomene. So there's only one terraforming still going on, and that is the Tomb World. And it is going to take a long time. Hegemony of Ubaria has declared us a rival again. Means they must have gotten above pathetic again. I did decide to go ahead and put a gene clinic on every world. I plan on replacing them with clone vats when I get access to them, but for now it is a means to boost population a little bit. Rishethian State declared us a rival. Right now it says it's going to pass. There's a lot of people abstaining. The Allied Multics territory have become more materialist after embracing the association of high technology. Sovereignty of Tuxcali is in a commercial pact with the Tenderzun Star conglomerate. And we are over by 1 on our naval capacity. We should be getting close. Yeah, 6 months the Star Fortresses will be built. We'll be able to start really boosting our naval capacity again. Nation of Selnock Prime entered a research agreement with the Allied Multics. Hegemony of Ubaria broke their migration with the Verzak. Right now it says it's going to fail again. Strike Force Gorgon has been kind of slow to upgrade. It's still got a few more to upgrade. That's the one at Safe Station. Yeah, it's got them all queued up. And then the colony ship. It doesn't need reinforcements, so let's actually bump the colony ship up to where it'll be churned out pretty soon. Right after, in about 2 days, it'll start on one of the colony ships and then go back to the upgrades. Since it doesn't need reinforcements, well, Pegasus, as soon as Pegasus is done getting reinforced, I think I'm going to move Pegasus to safe. And I'm going to have Gorgon assigned to Deneb, along with Chimera. Oh yeah, it's really going to fail now. Praku Interstellar Nation was given association status with the Allied Independent Systems. I don't think I'm going to be able to affect this. Yep, there just wasn't enough support at the time, and I don't have the diplomatic weight to push it.
Ships refitted.
Gorgon is finally done. Now, what we can do with Gorgon, I don't think it's going to need any upgrades for a bit. I could actually go ahead and send it to get set up in this territory, because I should be able to pass through there to kind of ambush some fleets when it's ready. But I'm still a ways off from influence, and I may actually end up doing upgrades, especially since I got the upgraded cloaking. So let's return them home to Deneb. Yeah, the cloaking field is about the only thing we can upgrade on these, but we'll go ahead and do that. Wouldn't take that much to upgrade them, actually. It would take a bunch of crystals. That's probably what's been holding us up, is the crystals we need for all the upgrades. I will go ahead and let them travel back. It'll take 4 months. I'm going to need more crystals before I worry about that upgrade. And Deneb is currently busy churning out ships.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Gene crops. Sophisticated genetic engineering of crops helps increase yield and further improves both taste and nutrient levels. Still not seeing what I want to see. We get more starbase capacity in 12 months. Deep crust engineering and planetary resurfacing would both take about a year, and we do have worlds we are not going to further terraform that have those blockers. And I think it is the mountains that is the most important, so we will get planetary resurfacing. That'll give us another reroll in about a year. Hanteron is finally completed. I have one more to build here in Rastaban after I complete Kornagi. Senate vote failed. Minor administrative sanctions will be up next in 2 years. Now, I had to do some reshuffling of some pops to get the gene clinics activated, so I did lose a little bit of unity, but not a whole lot. Glossworhenians declared us a rival again. Soran broke their migration treaty with them. For declaring us a rival, I'm willing to bet. So 15 months would put it in December, I think. Yeah, it's going to be either November or December of next year. Our pledge of loyalty from the Miravandians has expired. We need that back. We'll go ahead and give them 200. Gives us a slight bonus. Though we are starting to dwindle in minor artifacts.
Construction complete.
All of our star bases have finished their production. Deneb would have a detection range of 5. I think for now I will put detection arrays on here. Is there any particular building I need first, though? No, I can get the building after. Alright, so we need to get started on more anchorages, more trade hubs, to extend our range. Right now we have a collection range of 5. One more should get us Obatellis and Niamba. The other one will get us Rastaban, but I don't think we're going to be able to get further than that. We can get to Kornagi if we get the building that gives us an extra trade collection. Oh, we would also be able to get to Tetera. But Maestros and Fidhalam and Shashamar we would not be able to reach. I think I am just going to load this one up with detection arrays as well. Eventually I'll replace the ones that I will have on Deneb with something else when I get gateways and can just have a gateway extend my sensor range.
Construction complete.
Considering how long it's taking me to do upgrades, I'm wondering if 2 hangar bays is actually sufficient here. With all the defense platforms I'm going to have, and I think adding extra shipyards is the way to go. And actually in that case, we can cancel Deneb and add shipyards there, instead of having it extend more detection arrays. We will have it add additional shipyards. Yeah, I pulled a lot of artisans out, so I'll be losing that for a bit. We did get the Pledge of Loyalty until some populations grow and refill the artisan slots.
Science Division reports success.
We have autonomous station protocols. Increased automation of station functions will free up more staff for research duties. The Particle Lance. That's what I would like for the Eye of Medusa, I think. Be 19 months for the final research station output. Yeah, Particle Lance would take 5 years, though. Hyperdrive 3, I think, is the prerequisite for the Quantum Catapult. That would take 2.5. Let's go ahead and get the final research station output. Although I don't think stations are playing a really huge part. I think it's going to be like just a few points that we're getting out of that. We capped on food. We'll just sell 10,000. I have been dissing on gene clinics in this playthrough, but that is from a Commonwealth of Man standpoint. When I play an empire like the United Nations of Earth, I think gene clinics have value in the early to mid-game. Just from the Commonwealth of Man standpoint, I'm not that interested in the habitability bonuses because I'm going to terraform every world to a continental world, and humans have good habitability on continental worlds. The population growth is alright, but it's not that great. It's just right now it is a building I can use until I replace it, and it gives less amenities than building another entertainment forum would. So it's not a spectacular building for the Commonwealth of Man, since I am more geared toward things that have military value, cranking up my naval capacity, producing alloys, or consumer goods to fuel research and bureaucrats. But from a United Nations of Earth viewpoint, when you are getting a lot of other alien species in your empire that may not share your habitability, the bonus to habitability is really good. If you would want to go for habitability bonuses tech-wise, just so if an alien migrates to your planet that doesn't have the best habitability, you can spend less resources on them. Me, I don't care if my slaves don't have the best habitability on my worlds. They're here to work, not to be comfortable. And also, my opinion of disruptors has changed since the combat revamp back in November. Prior to the combat revamp, I thought disruptors were kind of a waste because of the randomness of the damage. Doing the math, unless you got lucky all the time with disruptors, you were better off tearing down the shields, tearing down the armor, and then tearing up the hull on most things. However, with the changes to some of the ship designs, for example, corvettes have about 200 hull points. It used to be that the bonus to corvette hull points, you got 2 techs for them. The first one gave 100, the second one gave another 100, so you could double the hull points of a corvette. Now, those 2 techs give 10% bonuses. So the first one adds 20 hull points, the next one adds another 20. So you aren't even getting a 25% increase to your hull points. Whereas armor, if I were to cram a lot of armor on this, armor now gives more value per slot than it did before. Now if we look at some of my larger ships, like let's actually look at a battleship. Alright, they're about equivalent in armor, shields, and hull because I'm kind of balanced and I don't have the best tech. But it is entirely possible, especially if I were to go heavier with armor, to make it to where it is a lot more armor to go through than you can get in hull points. And that makes bypassing the shields and armor a lot more valuable. However, there is a side effect to that, and things that do bypass, now with the armor and shield hardening, in late game they become less effective if people dedicate their auxiliary slots to it. But that is one thing to do against the AI. If you start sending things with a lot of bypass against the AI will start putting more weight toward the tech, toward putting hardening stuff on their weapons, which it robs them of another possibly useful auxiliary slot. So that is something that the AI will adapt if you continually fight at war with them. We might possibly be able to see it in some of their ship designs, since they have fought against us quite a bit. It doesn't look like they've started picking up point defense yet, but if you use lots of missiles against the AI's designs will start being weighted more toward point defense. I had noticed in previous games. I'm not sure if that still holds, but that was something I had noticed prior to this. Alright, so we should get 2 techs this year, the Citadels and the Planetary Resurfacing, so we'll have two more chances. And we should get a Tradition this year. And again, I think Quid Pro Quo would be the one to go for, since I haven't proposed any in a while. If any of the ones that somebody else has proposed, that'll start giving me favors I can use to adjust my diplomatic weight and get things to pass. So Strike Force Hippogriff and Strike Force Chimera are the only 2 that still need reinforcements at this point. Hippogriff just needs 3 more battleships, and then of course I need to start building up Strike Force Chimera. Pegasus, all of theirs are queued up. They're just waiting for things to be built. Same for Dragon and Medusa. Star Realm of Shar has declared Administrative Insight an emergency measure. Yes, I do want Administrative Insight to pass. So yeah, they have leveraged Administrative Insight. I do want this one to pass, because if I can get further down this line, it will be cheaper to have the holdings, because holdings have a monthly loyalty change of 1 apiece. You'll get 1 for free for only 0.75 basically, and then 2 for free for 1.5, so that saves you half a point of monthly loyalty on this, which is fairly useful. Now, one thing I could do to deal with the 8% increase to my cost here, but it will cut in a little bit to my Unity by about 162. Well, that's a small amount. We can start running Warring States. That may add a month to this. We will see when the month kicks over if it stays at 10. But that should, yeah, it gets us a lot closer to our capacity. But we are still building out ships that will boost it back up. Hegemony of Ubaria declared us a rival. Yeah, you're going to be non-existent in a bit. That non-aggression pact I still have needs to expire. Alright, now let's check Yeah, it just added 1 month to it. I can deal with that for the boost to my my naval capacity. Now the margin is much closer, and as I get anchorages built and more soldier jobs, that should be corrected. Now, according to the fleet manager, it says I have 784
Our pioneers
total.
have made planetfall.
We're about ready to start on our final hyper relay for our purposes right now. United Latrepian Domains is in a migration treaty with the autocracy of Rakaron. Now let's check our factions real quick. I think I forgot to do that on January. Yeah, we've got everything except for Giant Massacre, so we've got over 100% approval there. Right now we recently had a conquest because we had to reconquer Kornagi. So the Dumb Breed of Victory has a fairly high approval. And we've pretty much been stagnant with the Totalitarian faction. We've always satisfied the only four that they have offered, so we've been staying at 90%. I traded 500 volatile motes, 250 exotic gases, and 250 minor artifacts for 1,000 rare crystals because I kept running low. And I'm about to need 100 more right here to build this relay. And after that relay is built, I think we will move into Magam to start building a relay network for them. The alien civilization on Dahlberg Prime has finished construction of its first interplanetary vessel in orbit of their home world. Okay, so we have another one that has reached FTL. The Aphoxaran Collective, they're a hive mind. We are the Aphoxaran Collective and we speak as one. The hive mind has taken note of your presence. We will observe for now. Our future actions will depend upon whether you are a threat, an opportunity for expansion, or an unforeseen variable. We'll fight for our right to exist. Not even sure where you are. I don't really care. Well, I do kind of care. They could have been close by and prime candidates for conquest. Let's actually find out. Dahlberg. Nope. They're off of the Allied Multics territory. They're their problem. They joined the galactic community. There is still a few primitive civilizations still out there.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
We have planetary resurfacing. With the advent of clean fusion, automation, and matter compression technologies, it was only a matter of time before mountaintop removal became mountain range removal. Alright, the commerce megaplexes. The Hyperlane Registrar interests me in that, but none of these others do. But that would expand the collection range of my one trade hub. More leader lifespan. Alright, still 3 years for the First League filing offices. Leader lifespan would only take a year. Food processing would take a year and a half, as would interstellar economics. Let's get the vitality boosters. We'll have it about the same time we have multidimensional analysis. Alright, we are 6 months away now. There is another edict I think I should be running. Nutritional plenitude. It's not that expensive. It is the fundamental right of each of our citizens to enter hibernation with a full digestive organ. Easy access to plentiful nutritional fare will be the fuel that spurs our growth among the stars. The main reason we want to run this is not to make our populations happy, but nutritionally provided to our slaves makes them more effective workers, and we're not really interested in them growing so much faster. But we do want the humans to stay strong and well fed, so it's mainly the humans we're doing this for. But we need to run that because we have enough surplus food. That way, that will boost our population growth speed a little faster. We'll be able to start getting our pops up a little faster. because we still do need more humans as specialists. Miravandian Coalition broke their migration treaty with the Verzak. Miravandian Coalition has declared
Science
Tender
Division
Sun
reports a new breakthrough.
their rival. We have completed the Citadel. Plans for an immense battle station capable of holding its own against several strike fleets are now being drawn up. If realized, these citadels will become monuments to greatness as much as system hubs. The Gauss cannon, more engineering research, the final upgrade for the civilian replic complexes, I believe. Mining station output would take 9 months. Replicator kiosk would take a year and a half. Habitats would take 2 years. Now, we won't be building habitats anytime soon because of influence cost. And again, that's a personal gripe of mine. I believe influence should only be spent to exert control of your empire outside of its borders. Claiming systems, building outposts in systems that are currently in your empire, influencing things in the galactic community, doing espionage, negotiating agreements with vassals. Things of that nature. Unity should be what it uses to fuel things within your empire. So habitats, hyper relays, gateways, the quantum catapult, any sort of decision to affect your planet, like mastery of nature. I don't think that should take influence. I think that should take unity. I can understand the nomination for the galactic market taking influence, because that is something that affects something outside your empire. Mastery of nature is only affecting your empire. It should only require unity. Now, you might be wondering, what about the empires that would have no use for influence at that point? Like, say, a devouring swarm. It doesn't really participate in diplomacy. It does need influence starting out to start grabbing systems, but it doesn't need to make claims. If it goes to war, it's a total war. Systems flip as it conquers them. It doesn't participate really in the galactic community or in any sort of trades. It can conduct espionage. That would be one use for its influence. But they should add a way to, kind of like when you click on this and it brings up a market. Something like that for when you click on influence that allows you to trade influence for unity. But it would be at a loss both directions, kind of like the market. See, the market has a 30% base fee, so you buy and sell at different rates. They could do the same thing for influence. Influence is more expensive to buy in Unity than you get selling it for Unity. And they could they could also have it affected by the scaling to cost, to edict cost. The cost of an edict, I'm not able to actually see it by mousing over it. The cost of an edict is affected by your empire size. And I believe the transfer of unity to influence should be the same. If your empire is larger, it takes more unity to get a point of influence. And you also get more unity for a point of influence. But they have a lot of stuff that currently uses influence. Now, I could see building a hyper relay in your vassal or gateway in your vassal's area costing influence. But if it's built within your own borders, it should only be unity cost. Now, I don't have the alloys currently to start the Citadel upgrades. And there's really not a whole lot of point to it. Why do I have a ship in transit? Who did I move? Chimera is moving. They shouldn't have had any reinforcements inbound. That one was from the safe system, and it's headed where? I must have missed it one of the times I reinforced a fleet. and had it send, but I was relocating Chimera to Marik because Deneb is currently busy building the final battleship here and doing upgrades on Gorgon. So I was going to relocate. I'm 33 days away. I can go ahead when I get there in January and start reinforcing this fleet, since I have gotten my naval capacity up. And it should be at a level where I can fully reinforce my sixth fleet. But it's no rush on the sixth fleet. If I get in a position where I can declare war, that sixth fleet can stay back to defend my territory if something happens. But this reinforcement will be there in 6 months anyway. Where is it headed? Pegasus, maybe? Abenti Unified Worlds embraced the Progress Promotion Council and became more pacifistic. Now we have to renew our agreement with the Curators. We've only got a few years left on Strike Force Legionnaires, so I'm going to go ahead and renew that contract. That would just about bankrupt us. Maybe I wait a year or two to renew it so that I have the money built up. There are other things we have to do at a year ending in 0. One of them is spend my minor artifacts. I need 400 for my worlds. So I need about, I'm going to spend the majority of my minor artifacts because I need to proclaim superiority. That gives me a chunk of influence. And I've got to go through, when I go through with my maintenance cycle, I've got to spend minor artifacts on my planets to renew the buff there. But it has been another 5 years. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.